Good day, race fans, and welcome to the Intentional Wreck Podcast. Podcast made by race fans for race fans, from the casuals to the lifelong gearheads. My name is Jeff. I'm here with my fellow hosts Corey and Finn. You can find us on Twitch, as you likely have now, under the name Intentional Wreck Pod. You can also find us on YouTube under the same name, and we are now on all of your favorite audio platforms. That would include Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Please like and give us a rating at all of those. Every little bit helps. On top of that, please make sure you check out the Moonlight Racing League on Wednesday nights. You can stay tuned and get some updates from that on here. I know Finn's got a little bit to brief everybody on with what's going on in the MRL a little bit later in the show. And yeah, so we've got some good stuff. We're coming off a interesting race at Watkins Glen. We're rolling into the last couple of races of the season. Like, we're seeing things kind of heat up now. So how are you guys doing?
Good, buddy. Real good. Today was a good day in the old Russell Stankiewicz household, and things are going great. How about you, Finley?
I just got off a 3-hour nap, so good to go. Speaking of iRacing, I have joined the MRL's Monday Night League at 11 p.m. is when they start the race, and I'm paying for it now. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed cup racing with those guys and qualified 5th. But the team I joined is called First to Engage, and I was the first to engage my right front tire with the wall and limped home a 13th place finish in a 30-ish car field. So I didn't feel too bad, but we were rocking maybe.
That's a hell of a way to introduce yourself, you know?
You said, what's that?
What track?
It's a good way to introduce yourself.
No, this is Charlotte. So, and I feel pretty good about Charlotte, and I, qualifying 5th, but I was lacking a little bit of long run speed, and these leagues, man, these guys are relentless. The raw pace was there, but as soon as I started wearing down the tire, kind of dropped a bit, got some fresh ones on, was running good, just got tied off of 4, and bam. So I had some wheel damage, fixed it, worked my way back up through the field, hit the wall again, wheel damage, fixed it, and it wasn't until about 20 laps to go I went from 20th to 13th after finally getting some wheel damage fixed. I kind of liked it, though, because it loosened the car up. There's nothing like hitting it, and then it works better. And you're like, there, God, because I hate a tight race car.
That's what she said, buddy.
So
you just knocked a little speed into it. That's all. You just knocked some sense into the car.
Yep. And then, again, as always, guys, we are commenting. I'm trying to get one of these two guys to join me one day on this Wednesday night. It's been fun. We went short track racing at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and it was about as chaos as you'd expect, guys. Using each other up, beating and banging. But it was fun. I enjoyed it personally. And I didn't have any technical difficulties for the first race of the season.
Hell yeah.
Yep. I have gone through lag not allowing me to watch replays. I've gone through my hotkey button stream deck not working 5 minutes before the race. I even had iRacing crash halfway through a race. I only missed 10 laps though because of a caution, but that was the first time. I'll tell you what, you gain a little bit more respect for those Fox. I'm kidding, but it is hard to commentate NASCAR.
Yeah.
So as you guys know, I do the college football stuff, and that's different because it's static, right? Like I can only watch a Twitch stream of the two users playing against each other. I'm confined to the cameras of that. This is a whole different ball game. I mean, this has got specialized software that you're viewing all of the drivers, all of their statistics, all of that shit in one panel. In another panel, you can control all of the on-screen things that pop up. Driver info, lap times, pit window stuff, track details. You could do the ticker across the top of the screen as it goes, and you can change what's being viewed. Sometimes it could be last lap, interval, best lap,
right.
Super speedways. I try to do the make because that matters a little bit more. I guess more so in real life than that because there's no OEM guidelines in this. And then you could change that to like the sidebar down the side of the screen to the tower and have that information. And I'm tracking cameras and trying to keep track of the story. And I can't imagine. I mean, I can imagine help, but you guys are in AV, right? Like AV, that's not a question. I know you guys are. What I couldn't imagine is having somebody in my ear talking to me the whole time I'm trying to talk.
Yeah. If you've ever run any sort of a live production. So what you're describing, first off, is you're basically describing like you doing all of the work of what would normally be a production room or a production truck, right? But
Yeah.
also, one of the things to keep in mind is that like whenever you see those folks that are in the truck, and whenever you see your broadcasters, and whenever you see anybody that's putting on a live performance and they have any semblance of a headset on, there's a voice that's going in their head constantly. And more often than not, especially on the production side, Corey knows what I'm talking about because we've run, events with that, is usually your director. And the director on a live event is not quite the same as like your film director, right? Like a director on a live event never stops talking. They are in your ear constantly because they're calling every single camera shot. They're directing other people to get cameras into other locations. They're calling for more audio here. They're calling for, trying to get zooms. They're trying to build the story on the fly, and the wherewithal it takes to put that kind of stuff together is crazy to like run that job. For you to be able to sit there and be looking at 10 different screens at once and go, okay, preview camera 2, go camera 1, go camera 1, go camera 2, and call every shot for the continuum of the entire show.
Yeah.
And you're taking a lot of all of that
Well,
and putting that into you doing a one-man show.
6 people doing that on a regular production, not one person, while trying to actually be the on mic talent as well.
Yeah, exactly. And the way that you were describing, like having somebody in your ear, like think about every time that you're watching the NFL on Sunday, and the fact that like your commentary crew for whatever your game of choice is, those guys have somebody in their ear constantly that's feeding them information, either about the production, where it's going to go, when the replay is going to come up, when these other things are going to come up. If you've ever heard a commentator kind of go like, hey, can we get a replay up of this? That's them triggering everybody else in the booth. And usually when that happens, it triggers a frenzy back the other way because the communication is only supposed to go the other way. It's not usually supposed to be the talent feeding it back to the truck.
Right.
So,
well, we've also seen a stark difference in the last, I don't know. I think Tony Romo gets a lot of credit for it, but we're kind of seeing it being pioneered in basketball as well, is this hyper focus of bringing in some of the best talent of modern talent into the booth, right? We saw it with Brady last year coming in the booth, Romo in the booth, and those guys, like, that's the thing, is very alpha type personalities, right? They are used to running the show and being involved, and 2, they want to show something, and the camera crew isn't going to pick that up, and that's why I could see that. And he's like, hey, bring that back up there. No, let's go watch that thing. And their director's mind, he's like, we're already past that, bro. There's a play about to go, and Tom's like, no. Yeah. But who's going to say no to Tom Brady? You know what I mean? Like, who's going to be the guy who says,
not Sydney Sweeney?
Yeah. Right.
Well, you know what? Like, speaking of Tom Brady, so just a total sidebar.
Right.
Have you guys seen anything for his like show about the soccer team he bought overseas?
No.
My God. Like, this dude walked in, like, went to England, walked over and like watched his team practice. And it was obvious in that moment that he bought in on a team and seemingly had no idea about anything regarding the team that he bought into.
Mm-hmm.
And literally was like, he walked the city that he was at, the club that he's at plays in the same city as Aston Villa. And that is a well-known like team that held, its own level of Premier League glory, like the whole thing. It is a world-known club, right? And someone brought that up and he was like, who's that? Are they good? And like had no idea about anything about the top flight of the league that he, is buying into, and then is watching and firing coaches and stuff like that with basically no background or information.
Fantasy football with a real team, dude.
Right. And right. And we know how that goes here.
Well, yes, we do.
But the other factor to take into account with that is that it's already a point in which people in England, especially when like an American investor buys into a club over whether it's in the championship, a lower tier, or the Premier League or something like that, like fans and other folks around the league are almost always like skeptical. And he's embodying exactly why that is the case.
Yeah.
Because in most cases, it's a play thing. I'm going to go and spend this money on this thing. It's this investment. There's no heart in there. That's one of the reasons why people were kind of refreshed at the Welcome to Wrexham story with, Rob Mack now. And Ryan Reynolds is like, these guys were actually going in and watching practice and talking to fans and seeing people and stuff like that.
Right.
And like they were going about it the right way, as opposed to the way that it seems like Brady is going. I don't want to knock it too far, like there's still plenty of this story to tell,
Right.
but it does seem like he's embodying a stereotype of the American soccer investor.
Well, let's bring this, back to NASCAR, right? Let's say I'm going to point out 3 guys that have taken over ownership of teams within the last 5 to 6 years. Okay. And Pitbull's the first one, right? Pitbull in with Marks. Pitbull was involved, but not in race day-to-day operations, right? I won't say that he's making a stereotype of him. He's obviously, Pitbull enjoyed the sport, was around the sport. He's also a superstar, so he's got his own, like things to do. But he wasn't, he's not able to make like intelligent decisions on the team, if that makes sense. He's there for name,
money,
broadcast, money, right? Marketing. Then you got MJ. And MJ is like, he wants to be in on those things, right?
He grew up watching racing.
Right,
right. He grew up a fan. Yeah.
Right. And I like, with him and Tom, right, they share such that native, even if they can't make intelligent decisions, they are going to be able to rule out bullshitters within the administration and the coaching side of things. Do I think Tom Brady has the right to go in and start changing scheme of a soccer team? No. But you're not going to be able to sit in a room with Tom Brady and talk about sports and hide the fact that you are a bullshitter or you are not competitive. So I think there's validity to that, but MJ is very interesting there because also he allows Denny to be Denny, right? It's not like he's coming in and firing drivers, because MJ is a very competitive person. And then there's Jimmy Johnson, and I'm going to take you back to when Jimmy and Jeff were Hendrick drivers, Corey, and Jeff, you may remember kind of the aura about this, right? Everybody knew that Jeff was going to be within leadership at Hendrick eventually, right? I mean, he literally owned the 48 car. He found Jimmy Johnson, put him in the seat, right? But everybody had always thought, there's a time it was like, well, Jimmy's as much a Hendrick guy at this point. Is Jimmy and him and Chad, are those trio the future of Hendrick Motorsports? And it was just obvious that Jimmy was not interested in those things, or at least he was more interested in driving and personal endeavors and things like that. I have been very pleasantly surprised with him coming back. And I mean, it feels like Legacy has taken a huge 180 from last year. To see him like making calls, bringing in Kenseth, bringing in Trevor Bayne, if you're familiar with Trevor Bayne is, bringing in all these drivers, going in and
they did yeet each other this weekend though.
That was interesting. Yep. There's a clip going around. Eric Jones like drove through the pack for the last 20-ish, 30 laps in a restart, had a really good run. But no, I'm just, we're seeing more speed. Both of them went really deep in the in-season tournament. I know that's a little bit farcical. I don't know. Not the most serious thing, but I mean, nobody was expecting them to matter in that thing in a way. So that's been something I've been pleasantly surprised with and excited for.
Don't forget the OG in NASCAR coming from another sport. Mr. Gibbs and his 3 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to do a deep dive into what made him want to even do that, because I have not done the deep dive into why Gibbs is and decided to get into NASCAR, or if that came first, right? Because it had to have been football first, right? You don't just haphazardly become an NFL head coach.
Super Bowl rings.
Right. You know what I mean?
Well, right. He was, you figure he took over for, what was it, 80 or 81, he took over in Washington. And then, because then 82 and 83 Super Bowls, 87, 91, lost 1, won 3. He was coming off of that and then left in the early 1990s to go full time onto his NASCAR team. It's just like, you went to the NFL and reach the top of the mountain multiple times.
So,
and then you're like, all right, time to start new with something else.
This wasn't even my question for later, but like in terms of sports as an entity, is there a case for Joe Gibbs to be on the Mount Rushmore of all sports, considering he's got multiple championships in 2 sports?
Unequivocally, yes.
Is
there a case to be made? Yes, there's a case to be made.
Are people?
He's the only coach in NFL history to have 3 Super Bowl wins with 3 different quarterbacks. He won one Super Bowl with 3 different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you the story about how I was in line behind the what's the quarterback's name? Name the quarterbacks that won Super Bowls.
Jaden Daniels. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Mark Rippon.
Doug Williams, Mark Rippon, and Joe Theismann.
Doug. It was Doug. Did I tell you guys I was in line behind Doug Williams at a Potbelly?
Really?
That's right.
I didn't tell you guys. So obviously, all right. So when I lived up there, I was obviously I lived in Ashburn, and I would drive every day past work, past the Commanders
By the bubble,
yeah. Right? I literally lived right there, and I'm in line, and there's just 6-foot-ish older black gentleman standing in front of me, and he's just like got Commanders gear decked out. Fun fact: I had no idea what Doug Williams looked like. I didn't recognize him on the spot. But I've seen it a lot, like Chris Thompson. You guys remember that name? FSU running back that played, like me and him. I know this is weird, but
we remember some guys, all right? We remember some guys.
I know you guys remember, but like I used to get my hair cut at the same spot because I used to go to this black barbershop because they were really, really nice. And there was like no good barbershops in that area. But they did like half the Commanders roster. And like I remember Chris Thompson was sitting next to me in the chair, and he was really, really cool.
Yeah.
But anywho, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm sitting there looking, he's just, it's a long line and we're just waiting. And I was like, I said, you affiliated with the team? Because I'm the GM of the Commanders. I was like, you're Doug Williams? he goes, yeah, man. I said, why the hell are you in line? I said, Doug, buy the place. and then he had a chuckle, and I said, can I have my sub for free, though? Like, come on, dude. I'm not sure. And I was like, I'll Google your net worth right now. And he had a chuckle, and he was a super kind guy. And then I let him go back to being in line. But anytime I see like a bunch of Commanders here, I'll ask a question, be like, you on the team or something? The GM.
That is wild.
Because he was the GM, right?
I have his autograph is right behind me.
He's not the GM. He's the team president.
Okay.
Yeah. For the longest time, we didn't do
football
GM.
Operations or some goober title.
Because for a long time, Washington didn't do GM. This can go down a rabbit hole that I.
Hey, hold on. Wait.
Else wants to go down.
I am going to claim right now, while we are on the subject, my victory lane.
Okay.
All right. So
go.
Corey is doing a flash victory lane. So before we start. Let me explain the rules of how this works before Corey goes into a rant nobody knows, because we're still growing, boys, so we can't act like we're fully settled in. Here's the story. We do a segment every week. It's called Victory Lane. At the end of every show, we pick drivers to determine who is either going to win or come the closest to the finish. Whoever's driver finishes the best allows that person to have 1 minute of uninterrupted speech about whatever they want without us blabbing in, without us stopping them. And that is our segment called Victory Lane. And Corey has just pushed a flash Victory Lane button. So we're going to carry right into that because I have a feeling he just figured out what he was going to talk about.
No,
so before he forgets it.
But we headed there, and I'm going to take my opportunity.
All right. Then here we go. So, your time starts now.
To any of you that know me and Jeff, we are lifelong Washington Commanders fans. We were just talking about Chris Thompson a minute ago, and Finn asked if we remembered who he was. Okay, so we talked about Joe Gibbs. We talked about Chris Thompson. We've talked about Doug Williams. We're basically doing a Commanders podcast right now. So, Terry McLaurin and Adam Peters. I'm going to need you to figure this shit out because it is now, August 12th, all right? We have a preseason game on Monday against Cincinnati. We have combo practice with the Ravens the week after that. We are less than 30 days away from the NFL season, and Terry McLaurin has yet to step on the practice field this year. He's on the books for $25 million this year. They can get him for a $28 million franchise tag next year. He's 30 years old at the start of the season. I'm a pay Terry guy. Jeff, I believe you're a pay Terry guy. All right. You have no leverage, Terry, and I love you, but it's done. You got to just take what they're offering you and move on. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. Please get this deal done. You know you want more money? You want a longer-term deal? Okay, fine. I'm with you. I want you paid. You got no leg to stand on here. They got you by the balls. I'm sorry. Please sign the deal. Adam Peters, find out what gets this done and get it done. And that's victory lane.
There you go. I agree. Make it happen. Make Scary Terry just let him finish out with this team, please.
Yes.
He has been one of the most consistent pieces that we have had on this team in a very, very long time.
Finn, are you at all informed of this Terry McLaurin situation?
Yeah.
What is your take as an outsider? If the Lions, well, not the Lions, if the Jags could get Terry McLaurin for $30 million a year, are you doing that? A team with a decent quarterback, young,
right?
Maybe they're a contender, maybe they're not.
First
He's making 25.
Yeah, anytime you start getting into the 29, 30, 31, right, you're hitting two things. One, what's your skill set and how does it age, right? Like, is your skill set speed? Okay, we're watching Tyreek Hill have his worst year, coming off of his worst year, and he's kind of a speed guy. Terry is one of the better downfield threats in football. He has a good route tree. He's not limited, and he's got fantastic hands, one of the best contested catch guys in football, like most underrated guys.
That's
right?
his superpower, is contested catch.
Right. So, as age stops his separation, the hands, your hands aren't going to get any older. Two, he is coming off of his best season, and I firmly believe the idea of, again, I'm not an NFL GM, but as a fan, I think there's always a battle to, are you paying me for what I can do in the next 3 years? Or are you paying me for what I've done? Because he has been quiet and put up 1,000-yard seasons on a before last year dog shit roster.
Yes.
Just constantly just head down, doing the right thing, like anti-diva wide receiver Terry McLaurin. I don't think I've ever heard
He's had a different starting quarterback in week one of every season of his career. Right. Every season.
Right.
Until this year.
So you tell me, like, in my brain, I think that, and then you get your future, and then you get his best season to date. I think he's worth the money. However, when you ask, is another team going to go after Terry McLaurin, that is exclusively situationally dependent. You mentioned the Jaguars. Well, they have not one but two wide receivers that they're heavily invested in with first-round picks.
Let me change the team on you.
Right.
This is the one that I picked.
A good one.
Right.
Arizona.
No, even Arizona. So if you're going to go pay $30 million for a wide receiver, that means we're trying to win right now. You don't pay $30 million for another team's wide receiver if you don't think that you're a fringe or playoff caliber team, right? That has a rookie like a young quarterback contract. For example, you know who I think should trade for Terry McLaurin right this second? 49ers. They've got almost nothing at wide receiver. Ayuk is hurt. Everybody's hurt. They're about to start Terrell Owens' son, I think. I don't even know what's going on out there. And you're looking at a team that's got an aging McCaffrey. You've got an aging Kittle. You've got Purdy, who's a 7th-round pick. You've got to figure out something because on offense or on defense, you've got elite talent everywhere. And it's a relatively weak division, right? I mean, the Rams are solid, but Cardinals aren't ready to go. Seahawks just bought into Sam Darnold like every other global team has for the last 5 to 6 years. So
yeah, you're expected to if you're San Francisco, that's the other thing is you have an expectation.
Yep.
From the rest of your division, from your fan base, from everybody around you to hold a certain level of success right now, given what they've already done. So
we went from Joe Gibbs, Sports Hall of Fame. That being said, I do think Joe Gibbs, and this keeps it NASCAR related, Joe Gibbs does deserve to be on the. I've been thinking about it while we all have been talking. To win multiple championships in not even two similar sports. Not like you went to the CFL and
completely different.
Completely different sports. We might have to revisit this and see who are the other three. I'm ready to say Joe Gibbs straight up is ready to rock.
This could be a good off-season.
That could be a great.
We go off-season, we go and talk about something like that when we're looking for stuff.
Right.
I will, since we're almost 30 minutes in, and we got to talk about the actual events of the weekend in the NASCAR season. I'm going to put a finer point on exactly what led through some of this. I should also inform you that Tom Brady's soccer team, when he bought it, was in 6th place in his league and got relegated the same year after he came in and started firing people.
There you go.
But
now you got to destroy to rebuild.
Now let's go talk about boring Watkins Glen.
Well, first of all, I mean, there was some fire in there. Saturday's race, Connor Zillage pretty much dominated that thing. He was about to go from start to finish. While SVG had speed, and at the time he was wrecked, was leading, I don't think he had the car to hold off Zillage for 20 laps. I don't know if you caught it, but if you're familiar with the Watkins Glen layout, Corey, that final left-hander and then the right-hander coming to the start-finish line. Now that left-hander, Zillage went really, really wide. SVG gave him maybe half a lane of entry to get back on, and instead of lifting and getting back in line, he just full throttle back in line. I think it's a bit of a rookie mistake. You know, at the end of the day, if you're going to go off on that corner real wide, you're not guaranteed space. You're not required space to get back on. He did get back on right to the right rear and kind of dumped SVG. It's fine. Again, not fine. He caused the wreck, but it is what it is. He would go on to win that race, and then if you guys missed it, and anybody else, victory lane, he's getting out of the car. He puts his right foot on the hood of the car, very Captain Morgan. He left foot's on the door of the car. His left foot slips behind, his left slits inside the car, gets behind the seat. He falls face first. It looked like knee ligaments were all twisted up. Face first, completely knocks himself out. He broke his collarbone. I didn't even see this live. I just was going, and then I just see all these prayers for Connor, and I was like, what the fuck? This guy just won. Like, what am I concerned? And I went and watched it back, and that was absolutely terrifying. As a result, he was supposed to race the next day in the Red Bull car, and I don't know if y'all caught this. They withdrew the car because Red Bull is extremely stingy about who drives their brand.
Oh, I'm sure.
And to that I say, I'm kind of happy. Not that he's hurt. I'm happy that Red Bull takes it seriously. I feel like Red Bull being back in and then being winners in the series.
I don't hate that take.
Are taking it
that
seriously.
That seems to make sense to me, honestly.
Red Bull has a reputation. And if that reputation is in NASCAR, because I will say this, when Red Bull came to NASCAR, Red Bull Racing originally, they did have Casey Kane. And Casey Kane is a guy I would say, all right, cool. But it wasn't Red Bull athletes. You know what I mean? It wasn't true. When you think Red Bull athletes, you think the elite of the elite. Right now, it feels like the Red Bull athletes in NASCAR are elite talent. You have the best 18-year-old and the best prospect by a country mile. He hasn't finished 5th, worse than 5th, since the last time he got hurt this season, right before Charlotte. He came back to Charlotte and hasn't finished lower than 5th, and he has like 4 wins in this span. It's unreal. The prodigy continues. But yeah, that was Saturday. Did you guys catch the whole race on Sunday? I didn't know if you guys were. I know you said you were watching on
I ended up watching it back.
Yeah, another week where
this one was never in doubt, dude.
A track.
It was never in doubt.
Yeah, a track has to. Certain things is now with the state of the sport. The good tracks have to deliver. You can't have duds at good tracks now because there's too many guaranteed duds elsewhere on the schedule, and that was a downside. It is okay for me if Watkins Glen is a dud once every 5 years, because you were right, but well before then, Corey. Like every race recently at Watkins Glen has been fantastic.
Yeah.
And guess what? Right now, that program, that 90 or the 88 program right now, they're untouchable. They're untouchable. Yes.
We all knew that he was going to win. We knew he was going to win last Tuesday.
Yeah. like when
we weren't allowed to pick him to win.
Right. Like when Coda came up in the start of the season, everybody was expecting this, and then it got hampered a bit because Kyle Busch was faster than him, and then he kind of didn't do too hot on a restart and finished 6th, and then that brought some doubt. Doubt gone, right? Like there is one ride that can hang with him. And that guy broke his collarbone. You know what I mean? But they were actually, obviously this week, if you've been watching anything, another week of ripping the car. Zilich himself actually went on the Dale Jr. download, did an interview, and talked a lot about things like there's not a lot of roll in the center of the corner. There's not a lot of lateral grip. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do like the discussions occurring. I mean, this isn't going to be another week of shitting on the car on our podcast, but certainly there. Briscoe, interesting ride. Did you catch the last tail end of his ride through the field?
I didn't see. I mean, I was watching him just creep up
This is where,
but it just
brother. This is when I go back. Do you have Max? I might give you my Max logins. Okay, you have it.
I got it.
So, all right. Go watch that sequence back, because I just remember looking up and going, oh, he's in 7th and he's like 9 seconds behind Blaney. Okay. And then I was like,
I know.
Oh God, he's right on Blaney.
Well, and that was the interesting thing about, like, I knew the outcome of the race, including where Briscoe finished, before I watched the race, right? Because I didn't watch it till like 8 p.m. Sunday night.
Right.
And I'm like, there's like 7, 8 laps to go, and he's in like 14th place.
How?
And then I'm like, how does he end up 5th? And I'm just walking, just one by one, boom, 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 boom.
He's just
boom,
picking them off,
knocking guys out.
Yep. I don't know what I'm doing after this, but I'll probably just throw it up after on Discord, and we can watch it real quick. Because you go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah.
So,
well, I was gonna say, not only was he like in 14th, but at that same time, if you were just watching the leaderboard at the time, you were seeing 7, 8, 9 second gaps.
Yes,
between the leader and everybody else, and anything else at that time. So
he caught Blaney by like almost 8 seconds in 3 laps.
Yeah,
that's crazy. And I don't know if you guys know, but I mean, I'm sure you both know, but they're still doing tracking of the Winston Cup, right? The Winston Cup's scoring. Yep. Briscoe's 3rd.
Yes.
Yeah.
3rd.
I was talking, maybe it was you, Jeff, or something. I think right now, ignore the win totals. I don't think there's a car faster than the 19 across the series.
Not everywhere. Not all around, certainly.
Right. Like, I mean, we're seeing him qualify up front in the road courses and riding up here with the road courses. We're seeing them put whole races together. I think the only reason we're not seeing him with multiple wins is because we keep going to road courses where somebody else keeps getting multiple wins. But, I mean, you look at the 5, and it seems to be like, okay, what's going on with Kyle Larson?
What a fall off there, man.
And I'm
20.
Right. And I'm not too concerned about oval speed per se, because we haven't been on really, really good Kyle Larson ovals. I'm sure they'll be fine. But there is something to be said about groove and momentum. Byron has, Byron's been solid, and that's great. Blaney had a good race, and I think that's going to help them with their momentum. But I just, right now, in a series where track position is king, we have one guy who keeps front row and everything. And the only cars I've seen that have that pace is the 24, the 23 kind of, in a mini way, is got the consistency.
And Blaney's less so, but
right. Well, yeah, Blaney's been quick.
The 11 has had a fine season, but the opposite point of what you were talking about with momentum, if you look at it in the opposite direction, because Kyle Larson is one example, Christopher Bell is another example of somebody who, at the beginning of this race, at the beginning of the season, flying, killing everybody, looked untouchable in the first few races of the season, wins 3 in a row, and you're just going, oh my God, like, what's going to happen?
Right.
And now at this point, since the All-Star race, where's the 20 been? Because it ain't been in the front. Like, he's come somewhat close in a few. I mean, he's had decent finishes. But
this has been the best that he's done. Has been Watkins Glen. He finished 2nd, but again, a little bit of strategy scenario and never in contention. Right, never even close to the 88. That being said, I do think if SVG didn't exist, what I do? Go back and see. If SVG didn't exist, how would these road courses have shaken out? Like, would they have been more fun? What were the battles for 2nd, 3rd looking like? You know what I mean?
Well, right. And at some point, right, this is going to have run its course. And I get that he just re-signed multi-year deal, so we get a couple more years of SVG in the thing. I am not one of these guys who finds his victories and his domination somehow illegitimate because it's only on road courses. That's ridiculous. That's not what this is. But it is going to grow tiresome to some degree, right? Where it's just like, is he the odds-on favorite today to win the Roval? I think yes. Even though it's the closest you can get to a hybrid of the two, right? Of an oval and a road course, but he's the odds-on favorite to win the Roval today, and it's 2 months from now.
Right.
So it's like, what are we? It's just a little bit.
I'll add to your point in that, like, as far as running its course, like, we're talking about fans, we're talking about anybody else and stuff like that. One of the other people that it has the potential to run its course on is Shane Van Gisbergen. He's 36. Like, he's come over to this series. He's, on his way in. He's been here for a bit. He's proven that, like, he is the odds-on road course favorite anywhere that he goes, yet he's still struggling when he gets onto ovals. He's having, finding a few occasions where he can find a groove and get somewhere, but it's still, nobody is saying SVG is going to win this oval yet. And he is going to be somebody that at some point is going to go, okay, like, I was doing this in supercars. I was doing this on other series. Like, I was running road courses and doing fine there. I came here to challenge myself and to do something new and wanting to get better at something here. And I've already shown I can be great at this part, but I also came here to be great all around. So at some point, he's going to get frustrated too.
I don't know, man. So
he's got time, dude. He's got time. 36 is not old in this sport. 36 is he's in his prime. I mean, really.
This is what I think changes things, right? One, everything I've seen from him says that even when they suck, he loves it. Everything that I've seen from him, he has mentioned multiple times, he loves that you are pushing constantly. That was his whole thing in V8 Supercars, was pushing. I want to push the car. So I want it to be chaos. I want to go. I don't want to sit around and get in line and play it safe. And he loves that about NASCAR. Even though we have similar complaints with the V8 Supercars, we talked about this on earlier shows. The kind of stock parts, the setups being the same, not a lot of passing, but there's something different. Two, he's guaranteed playoffs, which means they're guaranteed money, which means the team is only going to improve, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, I will say this, if he was driving in a colleague car, I agree. Because he would be like, the incompetence, the inability to move,
he's won 4 races.
Right. Crew chiefs,
colleague hasn't won 4 races as an organization in like the last 5 years.
Yeah. So it's like, it's just one of those things where, like, the pit crew is awful. The you're dealing with the crew chief who doesn't know how to make strategy calls. Like, no, they're fine. I wager, if I had to put money on it, I would say SVG wins 2 ovals in his career.
I can see that.
It's fair enough, and I want to make sure that I'm making clear here. Like, I don't at all consider any of it. I love what I'm seeing out of this anyway, and because I'm a firm believer of, like, if the sport is what it is, what we know that it is, like, winning a race is an accomplishment no matter what. If you watch this sport week in and week out and you pay attention to this series, winning, you might steal one here and there, but either way, you still got your name on the trophy. Winning a race in this sport is an accomplishment in and of itself.
Right. And I agree, but I'm saying this, if you're 11, 19, 20, 23, 45, you're not winning the race. All those guys should be going for stage wins.
Right.
Period. That's the problem with SVG winning road courses and having stage racing built into it, is if you're Bowman or Buescher or one of these guys on the cusp of a playoff spot, don't even worry about trying to win the race.
Right.
Just go win stages if you can.
Right.
So that would be my strategy. And I would if I was standing in front of James Small and Chase Briscoe today, I'd be like, you guys should have tried to win a stage last weekend to help your playoff points. Don't worry about trying to win the race. You're not going to win unless something crazy happens.
Mechanical
So
failure,
yeah, something like that.
I hope.
So
I do
go stage
hope.
race.
While I see that in the short term, because you're not going to be able to fix your road course program in the middle of the season, I do hope this sparks something where we see Cup drivers trying to go get more experience. Right? We have heard of a Cup driver potentially going to Adelaide and driving in the V8. I hope this tells the Cup guys. It's two ways, right? Either you resign yourself to the fact that 5 races on the season you won't have a shot, which sucks, right? That's tough because you might not be good at all the other tracks, right?
Right.
But to straight up be like, hey, for 5 races, you're done. 6 races, you're done, right? Because
You're just going out and taking a ride.
Right.
Yeah.
You can pencil 88 in for 3 wins next season. Right now.
So
right now, today.
Yeah. Hopefully what happens is this says we need to get better at this and we need to do something. We need to go. Because what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a field of drivers that can't pass in dirty air. And then I'm seeing a guy who's 11 seconds faster than them and who can. So
yeah,
there is a point, and I am not Kyle Petty here, who's getting absolutely flamed on the internet for defending the car, right? We all know the car has some issues. But there is a guy right now who is proving to you that there is speed left in the vehicles because he's taking a tier 2 ride and he is whooping your ass.
Yeah.
I wager. I'm going to take a guess here that the combined time of the combined interval of victory of SVG's wins alone this season might be more than the combined interval of victory for the rest of the races combined.
That's very possible.
You know what? That's going
to
be
probably in the ballpark.
That's going to go be my math project here today is figure out what the interval was because we've got a 17-second win, we've got an 11-second win, and I don't even remember what Sonoma was like.
Yeah.
But he's gapping the field in an unnatural way. So, but no, I mean,
my man is lapping people on a road course.
That was Catherine Legg, who we like here, but
no, he lapped a couple people.
Ty Gibbs, you made a point about Ty Gibbs whining. He got into some spats with his crew chief. It looked like the 54 was trending up, and now they're trending back down. Honeycutt, by the way, they announced, we talked about it kind of in the past, but Honeycutt is going to replace Corey Heim in the 11. So it looks like Heim is going Cup racing. It looks like Heim, and that's going to be a very interesting
Heim time.
It's going to be a very interesting thing for the prospects of NASCAR. But
did you guys catch the like Kyle Busch and Denny and Ross Chastain situation where like essentially Chastain was, if you asked any other drivers, they would say he was doing Chastain things, right? Like we're seeing these little creeps, like little slivers of like 2022 Ross Chastain coming into focus, in some of these things, and you could tell like, or what it's doing more than anything else is it's bringing out sentiments and feelings that drivers already had that they may not have vocalized because now they're getting involved with some of that. Because what ended up happening was like the 1 got into the 11 and got into the 8, basically, knocked the 8 back, and it was just kind of over at that point. So, and if I remember right, there was the comment on the radio was something like, I would have done this if it wasn't for dickhead racing over there, something along those lines. Like,
right.
You could tell there's already, some of these guys have had some animosity that we just may not have heard on the radio because they may not have been directly involved in incidents.
Bro, I'm you know me, bro. I'm picking Hocevar and Chastain as my fantasy team, dude. Love those guys. Love them.
I mean, Hocevar and Zane Smith, have had some issues, but apparently Hocevar let Zane Smith by and then came up to him and said, "Hey, I know it doesn't fix everything, but expect this the next couple of weeks," basically saying, "Hey, I'm not going to race you hard. If you're quicker, you can go," type deal. So interesting to see some young drivers working some stuff out. So speaking of Hocevar, this comes to the question I wanted to ask you guys. You are now, role play with me. I got the dice. Nat 20 gives you a Chase Briscoe championship or a Denny Hamlin championship. You are now NASCAR's marketing director. Your job is to work with drivers and teams, full reign, no holdbacks, no things. What do you think is the best way NASCAR could find new fanship and promote the sport? Whether that is something that feels like sponsors get a true ROI, or just gets more eyes on the sport so that everybody wins by the people watching the races more.
They've already dipped their toe in different ways into doing this and need to go more full bore.
So Gibby, what do you think? You know, like for example, we've seen Full Speed, right?
Right. So that's
that
one
documentary,
thing, and that's a good way. But you also need to get people to full speed. And one of the things that, to me, the more that you're integrating yourself into other sports, the more that you're sprinkling yourself in with other leagues, other athletes, and cross promoting, the more you have an opportunity to draw eyes. Because when you look at NASCAR from the early 2000s and in the mid 2000s or so, when a lot of people, I don't think I'm going to get much argument in saying that this was a peak for the sport. You saw NASCAR everywhere. You need to get NASCAR onto the screen in more places in which people aren't necessarily expecting to watch NASCAR to promote the storylines that you're doing. You need more promotions from drivers in commercials that are airing outside of just in the races. You need to have drivers showing up at games. You need to have athletes commingling, hanging out, doing other things with some of these drivers. You need your drivers to become names that people recognize by people that don't watch the sport. When you do that, then they become conversation pieces, topics, and somebody's a little more likely to go and see what's going on.
Right.
So I will go the complete other direction. I agree that grabbing the casual viewer with those types of activations are good. If I'm NASCAR, I am targeting live sporting event enthusiasts, a la people who go to the stadium. Because what locked me in as a fan is the racetrack experience. I've been going to Commanders games, Wizards games, Nationals games my entire life. I love going to live sporting events. Something about a NASCAR race live hits so different than any of all of that. And I would be aiming at those people. How do you get Jerry World to empty out and have everybody show up to Texas Motor Speedway? How do you get the Dolphins fans, the Dolphins season ticket holders out to Homestead? How do you get the Colts season ticket holders out to the Brickyard? How do you make that happen? Because that will trickle down. You took me to one race, Finn. I was skeptical at best. I would have never, ever thought I was a NASCAR fan. And here we are. I'm doing a freaking podcast and buying merch and telling everybody that'll listen about how awesome Chase Briscoe's season has been. So I think you have to get existing sports fans with the live event piece because it is different. It doesn't translate as well on TV. I like it on TV, but as you've said many, many times, I'm not a casual anymore. Right? So I'll watch the race. I'll watch Watkins Glen at 8 p.m. on Sunday after I missed it to do other stuff. Most people aren't going to do that.
Right.
So try to get people to the track and see if you can grab them with like, oh, this thing that I'm seeing on TV that just looks like cars going by a camera real fast is actually this other thing that is actually awesome, and I just never really, like, the TV just doesn't quite do it justice.
Right.
So I focus on getting them to the track.
Right. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Well, I was going to say, I think maybe we're talking about just different steps.
Yeah.
Because one of the other things I was going to add is that we've seen multiple times this season, we've seen like players from teams that are in their off season and celebrities and stuff like that at the track. We've seen celebrities sitting in the pit boxes with, at the races. At the same time with that, like, do fans of those athletes necessarily know that they're there? And if there is, so like, I'm with you on that part, right? Like of getting more people to the track. I guess my frame of thinking is more along the lines of what's the step before that that gets somebody to even think about going to a NASCAR race in general, or like getting there beforehand, as opposed to doing anything else? Because I agree, you target a demographic of people that will enjoy a live event. You take them to a track and have them experience the cars going by for that first time, which is an experience that is, I tell everybody, like, you have to experience that at least once. That is an awesome thing. But then the other thing is like, how do you like make it so these people know what they're walking into, or know where they're going, or have any idea? Because it only lasts so much when you go and you walk in there and you have no clue who any of the people are, what any of the stories are, what any of the stuff that matters when they actually sit down to go and watch. Because here's the other thing, to sort of a counter to your point about the TV factor. TV will at least tell you a storyline. When you're at the track, you have nothing. It is engines, unless you're in some tracks that have like the radio broadcast that's going on, but like that's blaring in your ear. But otherwise, like, if you don't know any drivers, you don't know any significance about anything, and you have no clue about like what's actually happening, and the only thing that you hear is just engines and watching cars go by, that's awesome for the first 20 laps. Then after that, it's kind of like, hey, why did they do that? Why did they stop? Why are they there? Why are they doing this? And then you just don't want to risk having somebody show up and be confused to a point where they have no idea what's going on.
And I agree, but that's what the second race is for, not the first race. The first race, get them out there, let them feel the engines, hear the sounds, see the cars go by real fast. Then it's wait, I don't understand this and this and this and this. Next week, they're going to Charlotte, and it's the 600, and we're going to be watching this for 5 hours. They're going to tell you everything you might ever need to know, or whatever, going to Richmond or wherever. So, yes, you're right that being able to describe the details is important, but that takes time. You're not going to get them the first day.
Right.
Like, what they will remember is, I've never seen a human being go that fast.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, holy shit, that blur that just went by at 200 miles an hour, there was a person in there. Right.
Can't get that on TV. Going back to your first experience, you're talking about how you were hooked. Guys, this was Richmond, right? This wasn't even, I would argue you guys got it twice. You went to Richmond, and I still had the video of your face when you looked at me and you went, holy shit. Like, and that was just, again, this was short track racing.
Yes.
I remember
they're going 80 miles an hour.
Right. Well, they were going about 140, 130, right? 130. I still remember I was a couple rows behind you. I was sitting next to Nick, but when we were at the Xfinity race at Charlotte, and when it drove by, you two looked at each other, because that was both of your guys' first race at a big track, right? Yep. And you two looked at each other, and I remember I didn't see Jeff because I couldn't see Jeff's face, but your face was very much like, oh, so this is way better than Richmond. Richmond is out of the window. What did I just watch? And this is Xfinity in the hot sun. You know what I mean? Like, and we were like, holy junk.
Even Dover is markedly faster than Richmond.
Right.
Well, it was funny at Richmond because the other experience was, while we were standing there and they went by for the first time, Corey looked at me and was like, "This is every year. We're doing this every year."
Yeah, like what? But you hit the nail on the head, which is you're almost going to turn some fans off because they show up and then they just don't know what's going on, and now it's back to their typical, they're going in circles, right? But NASCAR does a good job with accessibility, right? Put the headset on and listen to what's going. But I've always felt NASCAR really takes the album approach in the era of streaming. Does that make sense? And you guys are music guys, Corey. We've been in a band together. If you are an up and coming rising act, what you see the big mistake people make is they just throw thousands of dollars into recording a 10-song album, and then they drop that album at one time, and then it reaches a small audience, but then it kind of fizzles, right? Because you're already spent. You're not releasing new songs, and the album itself is not new. Now you have what's called the waterfall effect, which is you drop a song as a single, okay, and then you drop another song as a single, but you re-release the other song with it. So it's a single, but it's technically a little double release. And then you drop your next single, but now it's dropped as when it releases, it drops. So what happens is people go to a streaming app, and you'll see this when your favorite artist drops a single. It should be like, wait, I clicked on the single. Why are the 2 most recently released songs underneath it? And that's because most people listen to a song and it just keeps playing, so it just plays the next one, and it keeps you relevant because you're consistently releasing music, and then you can combine all those songs into an album with like 3 or 4 songs that haven't come out yet, and now you have your album piece. So you have consistent, and I feel like NASCAR does that. And why I say that is big splashes, right? Coronado or Chicago Street Course race, or we're going to this location. It's kind of the same deal, but it's not changing the fact for like sponsors where they're getting a return on investment, because nobody's really watching and paying attention to sponsors in NASCAR. You're not getting as much television time, true television time, like you used to, and it's just not the same deal. I think I would really dive into my drivers and getting them big. What is the easiest way to get famous right now? Don't overthink it, okay? You're a music band, or you do a hobby. What's the easiest way to make a name for yourself and gain a few followers?
Short-form content.
Short-form content, i.e. which platforms?
TikTok and Instagram.
Right. TikTok and Instagram, right? Going viral. A band can go from nobody, a musical act can go from a nobody to supporting a small tour with 1 to 2 viral TikToks. Genuinely, right? It's the world we live in. So I would say, we have a scenario where Carson Hocevar, who is probably the only consistent driver on Twitch right now, right? You think about guys who are dominant. How many times over from 2022 to 2024, we're going, what's up, brother? What's up, brother? With Sketch. You know what I mean? Like, you guys might not know, you guys are old boomers, but there's this streamer named this streamer named Sketch is this just Madden streamer just taking over the internet, and that's the world. It's the younger age of kids that just well in with those guys, just grinding out on Twitch and getting viral. The chess community gained a massive following as GMs are now on Twitch. It used to be this inaccessible thing where if you're a you're a chess player, but then there's the great minds of chess, they're the superstars. Now you can just go to that guy's stream and talk to him and have him review your game for a small fee of whatever his donation cost is. But we're not talking about a good chess player. We're talking about the number 1 chess player in the world. The number 2 chess players in the world will talk, and you can engage with them. I've seen Carson Hocevar have TikToks or Instagram Reels or even his streams go viral, and people didn't even know he's a NASCAR driver. They're just laughing at what he's doing on iRacing. And somebody goes, man, you're really good. And he goes, yeah, I'm kind of decent at this stuff. Not even knowing they're talking to the Cup prospect right now.
Well, look at someone like Cletus McFarland, who maybe not be the best example now, considering his situation with ARCA, but
he's in the NASCAR game.
Either way,
he's in the NASCAR game.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is
Cletus McFarland is in the NASCAR game.
Yes, and that's the thing is you're talking about somebody who is famous through being on the internet.
Right.
Internet celebrity.
Right.
Is well known, bringing eyes to the sport because he's there. That is another way to bring eyes to the sport, especially in this general idea. Because that's one of the points I in a different direction, but it's one of the other points that I was trying to get at is find other people that people know who they are and get NASCAR in their mouth.
Right.
Put NASCAR in the place where those people are.
Right.
And then you have more of a chance of trying to get somebody that's there. You can at least bring in some sort of a following with that. That is very important. Put NASCAR in people's mouths that don't necessarily ordinarily speak NASCAR.
Right.
That's true. But the problem is that ignores the central problem with NASCAR, which is stigmatization. I'm not saying it's not deserved, right? But there's a certain uncoolness that comes along with NASCAR fanship to your average person. I was guilty of it too.
Right, but what I'm talking about is trying to flip that.
Yeah, I
somebody's
agree,
favorite.
Can you give me an example of who that would be? Who?
What do you mean? Who?
What? Are we talking you want Travis Kelce talking about it? Who are we talking about?
That's an example. I'm just talking about anybody that's not ordinarily affiliated with NASCAR.
So
is now affiliated with NASCAR.
So Hocevar was getting big on Twitch. He invited a big streamer out to a race. They treated him to the whole experience. They did an interview inside Hocefar's trailer, and then they did some iRacing. They have a rig set up. They had the guy race, and they talked about it, and that blew up on YouTube. That's a very small scale. And I do think, like, eventually, like, nobody is, like, again, the way, like, no Gen Z guy is, like, listening to, watching every single YouTube vlog, per se, of, like, Alvin Kamar. Now, Alvin Kamar is a NASCAR owner. He owns a team, or he's bought into a team, I don't know. I think that's part of it. I think absolutely you can continue doing those initiatives, other sport crossovers, but, like, that isn't going to push the needle. You got to get people genuinely interested in the characters that we have now. Kyle Larson, because of the double, was on the Pat McAfee show.
Well, okay.
Also, so, Kyle Larson, you got to be a little bit more entertaining as well, brother. I don't need you to. I don't need you to be concerned.
Carson Hocevar is the only personality in the sport right now.
Right.
Nobody else is really.
Chase Elliott's the biggest star in the sport, and from Monday to Saturday, he's completely ghost to the internet.
Yeah,
he's completely goes to his fan base. There's zero. You are not engaged. He doesn't even tweet. Like, you literally cannot engage as a fan with Chase Elliott at all. Meanwhile, Micah Parsons has a podcast. Do I need a Chase Elliott podcast? That might be more boring than our podcast.
Yeah. But wait, no, what I was getting at with the thing is,
we definitely do a better podcast.
Just be athletes, right? and to your point about, like, the stigma, it's the other thing is like, I'm trying to flush some of that. Like, when you take other factors, like when people think of Le Mans, right? When people think of Formula One, right. When people think of the Indy 500, maybe not Indy as a series, it's outside of what you're talking about when it comes to that stigma. They're not stigmatizing the 24 hours of Le Mans when LeBron James is waving the flag to start the race.
Right.
He's there. He's bringing a prestige that goes with it. When you have other people that generally have a certain level of fame from people that don't have an interest in this particular thing, but this person that they really like, they're about to make the race the place to be. So maybe it's not as lame as I'm potentially thinking of it. Maybe it's not just a bunch of fucking rednecks.
You done went there.
I will say this, though, like, I wouldn't be more apt to watch a race just, like, I wouldn't be able to, like, watch a sporting event that I don't follow. Like, right now, is there any sport where they, like, I don't know, like, I don't watch hockey. I don't watch hockey. I don't care about. I'm not about to piss you off. But, like, if Jimmy Johnson was at a race doing, like, the celebratory first puck drop of the season, I'm not watching that just because I'm a Jimmy fan. That being said, I don't disagree with you in that there should be an initiative to get sports talking about it, but also, can we get intelligent talks about it? That's another thing I feel like we're lacking.
So I'm not against that either, but I'm also going to tell you, like, if you find a way to get Taylor Swift at a fucking racetrack, your viewership is about, like,
but Byron tried. He tried to get Sabrina Carpenter. It didn't work out.
Have you seen or looked at anything on the internet over the last 24 hours just because of the talk about releasing an album from her? Like,
well, she also, I don't know if you guys saw, she is appearing on the New Heights podcast.
On the Travis Kelce podcast. Yeah. Yes, exactly. But she's debuting the album, and it's the whole thing.
Right.
Your point, Finn, I think the comp you're looking for is golf. Right? Like, LeBron James being the official starter of the PGA Championship is not getting me to tune into the PGA Championship. Right. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. I'm not gonna.
I think we cater so much to casual fans. I think there absolutely can be initiatives, but I would like to, the NBA's done a good job at this recently, which is just a ton of content creators, not even, NASCAR or basketball affiliate, just like content creators. They're making constant film breakdowns and stuff. Can we hire some of these ex-drivers to do a breakdown of whether it be of their old race or of anything? Like, what we get is such, like, there's so much technicality to this, and not the car technicality to this. Like, put me in the mind inside a driver at key points in the race. Try it. See where that kind of content goes. Get your drivers out there and way more accessible.
That you're describing.
I mean more so like with film, like Detail. Have you ever seen a Detail series?
No.
All right, Detail is a series started by Kobe.
Yeah, I remember his. It was awesome.
And it got picked up by Peyton, It is the greatest sports content that has ever existed, Corey Russell. I'm going to use your full government on this one.
It is fantastic.
Started with Kobe.
Sounds good, a secret base, bro.
And what it was is Kobe was doing its film breakdown. It's literally a film room breakdown. It literally starts out saying, this is not for entertainment. This is not for debate. And it's about the details of the game. So he would just bring up a player and do film, and he would just like pause and stop, and he'll just be like, again, no background music, very little editing. It's literally just the film, and then maybe a highlight of what he's talking about, like a highlight, like a light on the player, a spotlight of something, or like little arrows to help dictate what he's saying. But he's like, hey, he used, that footwork was wrong there, and because of that footwork was wrong there, look at what happened. So what he needs to do is this. Here's an example of somebody else doing it and how it works, yada, yada. So he did that for a bit, and then Peyton Manning picked it up and was doing it for quarterbacks. Yeah. And they're little 20, 30-minute, and they're literally just film reviews with the greatest scenario. So how about a scenario where we go find a technical track, one of our big races, and not the Daytona 500, not a, go find me a Charlotte, go get SVG at Mexico City. And film him just, a couple compilations of some key passes and things that he's doing. He was driving behind McDowell at Chicago Street Course, and he was talking about how he keeps missing his lines. But I'm watching, as a fan, McDowell lead SVG by 3/10. So I'm over here thinking the 71's great. Meanwhile, inside the car, SVG is laughing in real time at his driving. Laughing in real time. In fact, let's call this back to Watkins Glen. The 24 crew was upset because they were accusing SVG of sandbagging, which was making the 24 think he could pass SVG and use his shit up.
He definitely was.
Literally,
1,000,000%. Like he was sandbagging.
Right.
1,000,000%.
Sandbagging to force the 24 to use his tires up, thinking he could catch him, and then 100%. Leave him when it changed. That's absurd.
Dude, I didn't even know that until you just said that was a thing. But I'm watching the end of that race like, he's not trying.
Yeah.
He's not even trying.
Right.
And 24 can't catch him.
Right.
It looked like lazy he was doing.
No, not even when it was 11 seconds. It was when they were closer. Yes. They were claiming that he was intentionally staying back to make the 24 push to think he had him. And it's like, the mental games with the level like that. So here's my last thing, and this is going to be extremely controversial. Okay? Because you guys made the point, which was you bring somebody in for that first race, and they're like, all right, cool, this is going to be great. This is the one. And all right. And you're there, they're racing around, and then you have to like yell over the cars. It's called a stage, and that means everybody. And you're trying to explain to them in real time. Okay, let's take you back to our Daytona 500 party at your house, Corey. When we had all those people come over, everybody picks a driver. We did all the things right, and then the race starts, and we're all sitting there. And I just remember Jack going like, "So is this it?" Yep. Buckle up and hope it doesn't rain in Florida in February because then we're gonna be here longer, right? Here's my last controversial thing. What gets the most eyes? What race gets the most eyes on it every year? We know Daytona 500.
Daytona.
All right. In football, what game has the most eyes on it every year?
Super Bowl.
What's the difference between the two? One crowns a champion. The other crowns a playoff winner.
A week one winner.
How about this? Daytona 500 is the last race of the season. Make your Super Bowl your fucking Super Bowl. Get all your eyes on the champion. Now you have all these eyes on it, and then you can go and you start at a place like Charlotte to start the season, which that might be a little cold, so you might need to stay a little bit south. Maybe Homestead to start the season or something different. And now Atlanta. Oh, give me Atlanta to start the season, dude. Right. I'm there.
But it's funny to hear you, of all people, knowing you to propose the Daytona 500 as the championship race.
This obviously this comes with the caveat that it's not the Final Four winner take all, right? Let's just be clear here. This comes
going back to the Winston Cup, right?
Or just a chase, right? Where like, okay, last ditch effort. Like if you're the champion, that's great. Because here's the thing, this is one of the biggest issues. Jimmy Johnson would go into Homestead, and it would be like finish 17th or better, and you win. Way easier to do at Homestead than if you're 17th at Daytona, you're in the fucking hornet's nest, dude.
Yes. You are in the absolute shit.
So you have two decisions if you're Jimmy Johnson, or three. Stay in the hornet's nest and hope to God you don't get caught in it, otherwise your championship might be over. And guess what? If your championship is over because you got caught in the wreck, guess what? Now, it's not like the guy who could win the race or could win the championship is back in 20. No, he's going to be in the front pack the whole time. and his teammates are going to be pushing him to the lead. There's a real chance you lose it. Okay, or you can go to the back and try to play it safe. But what happens if you're in the back and try to play it safe? You're not 17th or higher. So you're at risk there. Or you go up in the front, and now we have a real race. You know?
Not the worst idea you've ever had. Sounds like fun to me.
So
and now it's the biggest race of the fucking year. Give it a Daytona 500. Start it at 5, transition from day to night, and let's crown a champion after the true biggest race of the year. Because I'm be honest with you, bro. A Daytona race in February ain't moving the needle for the casual fan.
No, you're right.
It's not moving the needle for the casual. And that's the one where we get the most eyes on the casual. Because then it's like, oh, this is y'all's Super Bowl, so he wins the championship. And you're like, actually, no. He's just guaranteed to make the playoffs.
It's kind of like opening day.
You know? Yeah.
What about, hear me out on this, do it on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah? The race itself on Super Bowl Sunday?
Why not?
Yeah. You're going to lose.
Nobody wants to compete with the Super Bowl. What, like,
you should do
no. What? Like, unless the race is happening at the Super Bowl.
But like, everybody's got 2 TVs now, man.
I don't know. That is the worst take I've ever heard.
Well, I think that's about to wrap things up for us anyway. Corey just is triggering segments. No. So one of the questions that I had with this, like to the point that Finn was making about like the analysis and other thing, the part about that gets me is like, what exactly is like, what are you asking for then? Because I feel like it's 2 different things. Because that analysis, that's great. That's cool. I think that's awesome. But like, is that what brings someone in the door? Like, to me, I would have had to have some like, I thought we were talking about bringing more people through the door, like getting them to there. I want that analysis after I've, digested something, right?
Again,
I've walked in.
There's people crave different things, right?
Well, sure.
There are going to be.
I'm a nerd. Trust me. I want
Right,
when I
right.
first get into something, I like ingest every last bit of all of it is in as short of a time as I possibly can. That is like part of that is my own learning disorder. The other part of that is just how like once like when I find a sport that I like now have an inkling of an interest in, I need to know everything and I need to watch all the videos and I need to see all the stuff and I need to learn all the things and I got to make sure. So like I can relate to that and I can understand it. But what was the thing what flipped the switch to start me there? What got me to see the first thing? Because that's what I was going for was what turns the eyeball towards it? Not like now that my eyeball's there, what do you got for me? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like
I
feel like these are all
I mean,
points,
there's 100 ways. I mean, they've gone the fantasy route. There isn't really a true fantasy route. There is sports betting. I guess if you really wanted to market, you can lean into that. I just think like you've got to find a way to reach modern audiences. Okay, stop trying to find 50-year-old plus people that watch NASCAR the old way. They're not. If they're away from NASCAR, they're away from it. If they follow NASCAR, they're still here, even though they've already said that they're done with all sports because whatever. I'm not going to use the word woke, but I use the word woke. They're back. They're watching the sport regardless. You're watching NASCAR, you're watching NASCAR. How do we get the young generation to give a shit about our sport? Because that is what's going to come next, right? Who's buying? Who's purchasing? Young people. What brands are in the sport that are generally new? What is, you know what I'm saying? Looking at the brands, looking at the sponsors. Who are the new guys? Because that's the kind of people we're going to see. The video game. We didn't really mention a video game, but that is a key. That is a great way and a key way. If done right, a video game can absolutely bring hype. I don't give a shit about college football, but because I run a college football online gaming league and the game is generally fun, they brought it back for the first time in a decade. Guess what? I'm watching Georgia Tech for some God knows why reason. I know Georgia Tech's quarterback for some guy. I know who Devin Dampierre is out of Utah. You know what I mean? Like I know who these people are. So let's do the same. They don't even run that anymore. But that's what I'm saying is like last time I do Georgia Tech, they're running a triple option. It was Calvin Johnson. He left. They decided, we're done with receivers minus Demaryius Thomas, rest in peace. But, there's a lot of different avenues. And that's what I was owning because right now Yeah, I was curious, but I've been paying attention to the Twitch guys and hosts of ours Twitch, and that's a way to go about it. I think providing more in-depth content for whether the user that comes across it, how many people on YouTube you say film review breakdown. This is why this guy. Imagine an SVG breakdown, because you know what I'm tired of. I'm tired of Kimi Räikkönen's gonna do a one-off race. We get it, dude, and he's gonna finish 20th and probably get wrecked out and. You get it. SVG is the only modern time a driver has come over to our sport and had success. Unless you can get Max Verstappen in a fucking cup car, which in that case I'm all for. I was just curious on what your guys' thoughts, because everybody has different opinions. So
trying your hand at grabbing the F1 crowd is a long shot. You can't even really get Indy fans probably,
because that's just only the arguments. That's not visibility. Right?
Yeah.
You're not bringing in fans, you're bringing in NASCAR haters. And then you're going to have arguments because either A, Max wins the races, and now NASCAR fucking sucks, which he's not going to win races. Or 2, Max doesn't win races, and then the NASCAR fans are going to be all the F1 guys are overrated, blah, 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 blah. And it's not going to be a celebration of the crossover of motorsports, right? SVG came in and whooped everybody's ass, and there really wasn't anything NASCAR could say. And fortunately for them, like a podcast like Action Central, shout out to Denny Hamlin. I can't believe those words came out of my mouth. Shout out to Denny Hamlin. That's what I want to see, right? Corey LaJoie gets shit on, but, Stacking Bennings is good, but they aren't reaching non-NASCAR audiences. Does that make sense? Like, Action's Central is not popping up on somebody else's YouTube algorithm that isn't a racing fan. How do I go grab guys who don't even know they're racing? Because here's another thing. Are you a car guy, Corey? Do you talk about fucking motors all day long and fucking brakes? Jeff, are you much of a car guy? Like, we're not car guys here.
Not as much, no.
We're not really car, but we're race fans. And that's what I think people also need to realize. To be a racing fan, you don't need to be a car guru. And that's another thing, right? You don't need to be some guy named Kyle who's going to be a mechanic his whole life. Drink Monster Energy drinks. Like, that's not like, I know we know that scope of a person. You don't have to be that to be a race fan. You got to beat down the barriers and let people know, hey, you can be. And of course, and the final thing is, this is on you, race fans. We've got to be welcoming of new people and different people and different walks of life.
Absolutely.
And at different tracks and different locations.
You have to be ready for casuals to come in and explain stuff.
That's a different struggle, So that's its own beast. But for the most part, I always like NASCAR races because even if there's some asshole at the race, you can't really hear them once the cars start going anyways. So, as long as you
can see them, sometimes they start taking their pants off.
Yeah. So speaking of that, Richmond Pants guy, who we should do that. Victory Lane next week has to be done with your pants off. Keep the camera exactly where they are, but in honor of the guy at Richmond who thought.
Wait, you guys do this podcast with pants on?
Stand up, check. Everybody stand up. And I'll leave with this story before we do our Richmond predictions. There was this guy at Richmond while we were there, and he's yelling. There's always a guy at every NASCAR. We should also do that as a series. Is the stereotypical NASCAR fans at a track, But this one is my favorite, which is flick Kyle Busch off every time he drives by.
There's that guy, yeah.
Yeah, and he was doing that, and then he turned around and he's in between the two sections and he's waving people up. And then they're cheering, and he's yelling at the other one, and they're cheering, and he's like, and I've been there as the vocalist in the band where I've told people, put your hands up, and they put their hands up. You feel like a god. And he got that moment. But in that moment, something in the back of his brain said, they want to see me take my pants off.
Something told this dude that, like, this response means I need to drop trowel right now.
Yep.
Dude, that mom almost beat the shit out of him. That was hilarious.
Merited, honestly. Like, would not have been surprised, would not have blamed her in the slightest.
That'll be a future section. So, all right, Richmond short track. Toyota is no longer the prime sponsor. Who's our picks, boys?
Well,
Chase Briscoe.
That's right. Corey is Briscoe to the end of the season. He's made that part clear.
No, I will change my pick. I will.
I'm going to go weird.
You didn't even hold it for a week, dog. Okay.
I said Briscoe till I win, and I won.
There you go. All right, well, you're last because the winner goes last. This is a guy who needs a win bad. He's on the cut line. He's a short track. I'm not going to say prodigy because he hasn't won a cup on a short track, but he's a short track guru. He's in a car whose team has been good and has won here before. I'm gonna go Ryan Preece in the 60.
That's a bad pick.
That was
Good luck.
That was a bad pick. I'm gonna go Ryan.
Bad pick. Good
Ryan
luck.
Preece in the 60.
Nah, Ford is not. No. Ford didn't crack the top 10 in this race last year.
Buscher's won this race though.
Not
You
last
guys
year.
watch Buscher win this race. I think they can get it
we
done.
did.
I think
Yes,
they can
we
get
did.
it done.
Nah, no Ford. I'm looking at the results from last year. No Ford's in the top 10. So
Wasn't Keselowski pretty fast too at Iowa? They've been pretty quick lately, so I'm gonna go with Preece. Don't hate on my pick. Pick your own pick.
He will not be in the top 20.
Wow. Controversy over someone's pick there. I am going to go with this being the resurgence of Christopher Bell. So the 20.
All right.
Tyler
All
Reddick.
right, victory lane champ.
Tyler Reddick. Reddick,
some guys who need it bad.
Toyota. He was third in this race last year. Toyota, even though it's not the Toyota Owners 400 anymore, they're still going to be very competitive. Reddick is not on the hot seat, but he is not having the season that he needs to have. Needs a good finish here. Reddick to top 5. Will beat Preece by 15 positions.
Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. And now because of that, the amount of shit I'm gonna talk about of your favorite bands next week on my 1 minute. Oh, I cannot wait. Cannot wait.
Okay.
Oh, dude. Oh man, I'm gonna list the best records from start to finish, and I'm not even gonna mention Incubus. I'm not even gonna mention Incubus for the best 3-run span of an album ever. I've got so much anti-Corey ammo locked in for hating on my take. So next week when I'm talking for a minute
building
straight,
this one.
Oh,
we've had like list of grievances because I had the one where like a few weeks ago he was like, you didn't give me a victory lane, and I was really mad about it. And now next week if he gets it, he's ready to load up on all of the things that you love.
I'm trying to convince Jeff that if he wins it, he gives it
bubbles
to me.
and bubbles and festers. Like, that's crazy.
Incubus does have the best 3-album run in the history of rock and roll, but I digress.
Well, I think that's going to wrap things up for us this week. Please make sure you check us out on the spot that you're on here on Twitch at IntWreckPod. Check us out on YouTube under the same name. You can find us on your favorite audio platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, and many more. Just look wherever you get them. Please like, share, subscribe, give us ratings, put that out there. Join us, tell your friends. Other than that, I hope that everybody has a wonderful evening, a great weekend, and we'll catch you all next week.
See ya.
Peace. Saturday night race.